From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 23rd, 2020. Former Nazi guard Bruno Day was found guilty today for complicity in the murders of 5,230 people when he was an SS tower guard at the Stutthof concentration camp in Poland. The now 93-year-old was given a suspended sentence of 2 years in prison by a court in Hamburg. Israel's ambassador to Germany, Jeremy Issacharoff, tweeted in Hebrew that this was not justice and that the 2-year punishment did not fit the crime, adding in an English tweet that the trial itself demonstrates that there can be no statute of limitations on Nazi crimes, even generations later. Well, a report from Haaretz yesterday is causing a stir. It claims that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has decided against passing a state budget by its deadline next month in an attempt to dissolve his coalition and trigger new elections. The budget issue is part of ongoing conflict with Defense Minister and alternate Prime Minister Benny Gantz. Today, Israel's President Rivlin reprimanded politicians for even hinting at such a possibility. Rivlin tweeted, "As a citizen and on behalf of us all, I can say, get a grip. Stop the talk of early elections, of that terrible option at this time, and save yourselves from it. The state of Israel is not a rag doll you drag around as you squabble. The people need you all to be focused, clear, and finding solutions to this crisis." U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman visited Israel's Institute for Biological Research on Monday for a briefing on its coronavirus vaccine prototype, which at the moment is awaiting approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The vaccine began animal testing in March, and we're hoping to begin human trials soon. The Biological Institute is run in cooperation with Israel's Ministry of Defense. And staying with the ministry, it, together with Israel's Foreign Affairs and Health Ministries, will partner with their Indian counterparts in the fight against COVID-19. An Israeli delegation of scientists and officials will fly to India in the next few weeks with groundbreaking equipment donated to help India tackle the coronavirus. And once on the ground, the team will conduct final testing of a number of quick diagnosis tests for the virus. India has a much larger number of COVID patients, allowing for a wider scale of testing, which is necessary at this point. Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi said this operation conveys a message of friendship and solidarity with India. It also provides a unique opportunity for scientific and technological cooperation that can assist Israel, India, and the world in coping both with the pandemic and with the economic crisis that came with it. A quick update on who will be leading the coronavirus task force in Israel. We had reported to you that former CEO of Tel Aviv's Intl hospital, Gabi Barbash, was tapped with the role, but he reportedly was unable to reach an agreement with Netanyahu and others on how best to manage the health effort. And last night, current Intl CEO, Professor Rani Gamzu, was appointed in his stead. Israel will allow new international students with plans to study in Israel for the 2020-2021 academic year to enter the country, despite the current barring of foreign nationals due to the pandemic. The Council for Higher Education in Israel, Professor Yafa Zilberschatz, said today, internationalization is one of the main strategic priorities for the higher education system in Israel, and we are committed to integrating top international students in our universities and colleges. All students will have to quarantine for 2 weeks upon their arrival in Israel under the supervision of their academic institution. A quick follow-up now for you to a story we told you about yesterday of a small march through Pennsylvania on Saturday by a neo-Nazi group. JBS reached out to Regional Director of the ADL's Philadelphia office, Shira Goodman, for a response. Goodman replied that the ADL understands how distressing it was for the Williamsport community to see a small group from the National Socialist Movement marching with firearms in a park with Nazi symbols and spewing racist, anti-Semitic, and anti-LGBTQ hate this weekend. However, she said, we know that this group does not reflect the community in which they sought to sow division, and that their efforts to make Williamsport a fertile ground for hate are failing. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, July the 23rd. At 7 o'clock, it's Talmud Study. At 8 o'clock, Martin Fletcher discusses his book, Promised Land, a Novel of Israel. At 9, it's part 2 of Mark Golub's interview with co-founder and CEO of the Miriam Institute, Benjamin Anthony, who discusses the reasons he created an organization dedicated to giving Israelis themselves an opportunity to debate the critical issues facing the Jewish state. At 10:30, Israeli director Avi Nesher speaks with Eric Goldman on Jewish Cinematheque. And coming up next, Israel's ambassador and permanent representative to the UN organizations in Rome, Yael Rubinstein, speaks to Shachar Azani about Israel's work with the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, Israel's expertise in the field, and its positive impact on the world. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 23rd, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.